Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
We are back, and it is the Friday Free for All, brought to you in part by Cafefe.com, the deplorable coffee for deplorable Americans. Anyways, they've been a great sponsor in the past. I haven't mentioned them lately. John, if you guys are still out there, let them know that we're still wanting our coffee. Yeah, it's Friday afternoon, and I need some coffee. I've had my proverbial butt kicked this week, coming back from a little family break, and voila, time to catch up. And we are catching up with the rest of the world, folks. Or wait a minute, on the Prepared Mind, we know what the hell's going on, and the rest of the world needs to catch up with us. And speaking of catch up, we had our X account, the Prepared Mind, my Prepared Mind, and it got hacked and stolen. X has done absolutely nothing to respond to our requests, to give it back to us. They didn't want to accept any information, nothing. X is a dangerous lost cause for us now. How about that? Yeah, it appears that the former channel, they've changed the pictures, they changed the name, and they're either, Indian, Iranian, or Israeli. I don't know which, because they all pretend to be each other anyways on the internet, lying to themselves and lying to everyone else. Not a good thing. But we're here nonetheless on our other social media channels. We've got the Prepared Mind, we've got the preparedmind.club, we've got subscribestar.com, and we've got the Prepared Mind on YouTube. Lots going on. It's going to be a heck of a weekend. Sunday Night Live, I have a feeling we'll be right here, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Prepared Mind channel, live for the zoo. And I have a funny feeling we're going to be talking about military action that is being taken in the nation of Venezuela. Before we get to that as a top story, folks, I'm going to remind you it's Friday. It's the Friday Free for All, and that means we're going to go to the usual shoot back and forth. My topic and comment, your topic and comment, my topic and comment, your topic, and we'll go back and forth and have some fun. Well, as much fun as you can, talking about shit hitting the fan, Mad Max, the world falling apart, Democrats losing their shit, and there's so much stupid out there, folks, so much. And I want you to help me get it on the screen right here. So in the comments section, let's get it on the screen. Let's talk about it. Good golly. So Uman writes, howdy, Miss Robin. I extended an invitation to our Xers to join us here today. And that's for Redneck Roughneck. Yeah, we were on X, folks. Within a week of taking down the premium we were paying there. And what did the premium allow us to do? Post a comment that was more than 50 letters or some shit like that. And to be considered, a supporter of free speech and to support the platform. But they started censoring us over our anti-war, anti-Israel, anti-woke, anti-DEI, anything that we were against, they wanted. So they started shadow banning us. So I pulled the premium. So they allow us to get hacked. They do nothing to help us get it back. What the hell, folks? Here we are. It is SHTF, and censorship is a big topic we're going to hit on today. It's a big topic we're going to hit on today. How government is censoring us, censoring itself, and promising to do a whole lot worse. So where do we start today? Where do we start? Mr. Uman, you were talking about Venezuela. Shall we start there? Uman, I think he agrees with this one. Everyone, buckle your seatbelts. Fasten it in tight because it could get bumpy very close to home, especially for us down here in Florida. So Uman says, well, we have reports in Venezuela of GPS blackouts. That's global positioning satellite or global positioning system. GPS blackouts over Venezuela this afternoon. Looks like we may be heading for another endless conflict just closer to home this time. Close indeed, Mr. Uman. So right now, the U.S. government is really rattling the sabers and saying, we're coming for you. We're coming for you drug cartels down in Venezuela. We're going to take action against said drug cartels down in Venezuela. And then the global positioning system is seeing blackouts. Now, so this isn't a war against Maduro, except Trump said Maduro and Venezuela is run by a drug cartel. And so he's using this war on drugs to use military action, not just on drug boats that they've been blowing out of the water, but now they want to go inland. Are they going to go into, is it Caracas? Is that the name of the capital city? Or do you suspect that Trump will not do, say, political shots, political fire? Or do you think he's going to go after the drug-producing regions, drug warehouses and drug factories? Or do you think he's going to go after drug cartel leadership in their homes? Here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to fly fighter jets or fighter bombers down from Florida all the way down into Venezuela. And I think they're going to take out mostly the drug manufacturing facilities and drug storage facilities, and then also some of the cartel leadership in their homes. There is a lot of precedent for this, and I'm going to refer to President Obama, who was willing to kill Americans while bombing foreigners in their countries. So right out the gate, all Democrats can fuck right the fuck off all the way down fuck off street when it comes to bombing other countries that Congress hasn't declared war on. Right? Because Obama was the number one drone bombing president of all fucking time. And he didn't make apologies. He didn't have to hide, even when he was killing Americans with said bomb, killing children. Yes, Obama killed lots of children, and even killed families at weddings with his drone attacks. So I don't want to hear any bullshit about, well, no one does this. Fuck you, Democrats. But it's not that I'm happy about what Trump is doing. I'm not happy about war and death and escalation of violence and more threats. I'm not happy about SHTF. I'm not happy about it because I know Venezuela has suffered under the socialist regime in Venezuela for the last, 15, 20 years. In any event, the GPS blackouts tells me that they're testing electronic warfare and electronic warfare techniques and weapons and systems to see how they can disrupt Venezuela, the Venezuelan military, Venezuelan air defenses. Uman says they are apparently closed down airspace between, it looks like, the Dominican Republic and Cuba. I saw like a blow up version, and it looked like the end of Cuba and Haiti, Dominican Republic, so that they could come straight down out of Florida, literally straight south into Venezuela. So I do know that by Tampa, there's MacDill Air Force Base, which has recently been, shall we say, restocked with a fighter wing unit. And there are such things as fighter bombers. Especially, we could say the stealth fighter also has bomber capabilities. It's just a little different setup. But there might be another naval or Air Force base in southern Florida. I don't know. I know there's a few naval operations over on the Miami side. but I don't know for certain, right? Because, hey, military secrets be military secrets. So the last few months, we've seen an escalation in jawboning rhetoric and bullshit coming out of Washington, Caracas, Moscow, Beijing, with respect to Venezuela and what we're going to do with it. Interestingly, Trump was just over talking to Xi Jinping, leader of China, having talks. I'm sure the topic of Venezuela would have come up, and I'm sure Trump said, hey, look, you want to be an economic partner to Venezuela? Great. But they're sending drugs into our country. They're disobeying our laws. They're putting our American lives at risk. And the CIA isn't making any money off you guys. So we're going to start bombing the shit out of Venezuela. Stand the fuck back. And that little jab at the CIA was a legitimate jab at the CIA. So I'm sure that, yeah, Trump let them know, if we're going to bomb them, we're going to bomb them, and we recommend you stay the fuck out of the way. So for the last several months, it would make sense for American operatives, CIA, and other, maybe DEA agents, quite possibly Green Beret, insurgents placed within the country, to find out key facts, key locations, where the drugs are being grown, where the drugs are being manufactured, where the drugs are being stored, and where the kingpins are, the big shot drug lords. Where do they live? Well, over the course of several months, I guarantee that by hook or by crook, or even by torture, these operatives inside Venezuela will get the answers, that is to say, the locations of those places, and then relay that information back to Washington, D.C., and it goes to the Department of War at the Pentagon, and they figure out the targets, the primaries, and they say, okay, these are the places we need to take out. I'm just trying to lay out a broad brush on how an operation like this would go. Right? You just don't wake up one day and say, you know what, let's go bomb some fucking drug lords. No, there's a lot of intel, a lot of recon. They got to make maps and then lay out these plans. And then they've got to train for the operations. And yes, just today, they closed down the airspace between Florida and Venezuela. Now, once you get past Cuba and Dominican Republic, there's essentially a very wide open space inside the Caribbean until they get all the way down to Curacao, and which is an island nation that's American friendly, just off the coast of Venezuela. Till you get down to there, there's nothing to worry about. So fly over Florida, fly over, well, what's left of the Gulf of America and the Caribbean, get between those two islands, as noted, and then it's literally open airspace. You know, are they going to, and if they choose to use stealth bombers, they would probably just fly right out of Whiteman Air Force Base in the middle of the country. I think it's Kansas, yeah. I actually went there once to a missile silo. Quite interesting. In any event, yes. I think I was 19 at the time. All right, yeah. I went to spend some time at Whiteman. Just a little bit of time. Un poquito. But so it's looking like they're going to do something. Do we need boots on the ground? I don't know what the actual mission intent and objective is. I just happen to not be in the White House. But I think that is what they're going to do. Based on what I know, history, more recent history, older history, and the prevailing attitude towards Venezuela. They've done their research. They've got everything ready. They're testing equipment. The military's in place. Bombers, fighters, they're in place. Oh, a thing that Uman brought up in our pre-show discussion was, we wonder what type of air defense systems the Venezuelans have, since they are allied with both Russia and China. Now, I don't know what kind of air defense systems China has, but I'm willing to bet It's based off of the Russian S-400 air defense system, and or a combination of that with the with the Patriot missile system, right? I'm sure, wouldn't surprise me if that's what they had, a combination of the two, because they just take whatever technology works and they steal it. They don't give a fuck. They're the Chinese. So I do know that American fighters, bombers, we have serious, very serious electronic, shall we say, countermeasures on our planes. They could fly some, a bunch of A6s into there. Do they still have the A6s? Fuck, when I saw them back in the late 80s at Cherry Point, North Carolina, Marine Corps Air Station, those fucking jets were so old already, having been flown all the way back in the 60s. But they're just stuffed full of new avionics and radar jamming equipment, etc. I don't know what they have now. But this one last aside, and then we'll get into more SHTF stuff. Get your comments and thoughts down below in the comment section, because we've got a lot to talk about. Yeah, back when I was a jarhead and I was at Cherry Point, they had a category of, we'll use the term maintenance phenomena. It was called TFOA. And they would have people go out to the flight line, have Marine stand next to Marine, all the way across the entire flight line, and then walk the whole flight line, looking down and picking up nuts, bolts, washers, chunks of steel, scrap wire, anything they could see. And that went into the category of TFOA, things falling off aircraft. And holy shit. Just weird to think, but when you're flying jets that are 30, 40, 50 years old, you can expect that kind of crap. In any event, it looks like some sort of military conflict with Venezuela is now inevitable and is indeed imminent. Be prepared in case. Always be prepared, just in case. Back at home, there are terror groups. There could be Trens de Uruguay, terror/drug cartel groups still in our country that Biden let in, that the Catholic Church let in, that Israel let in, that the United States Immigrations and Customs Enforcement let in under Alejandro Mayorkas, our dearly wish he was fully departed, but not quite, but former Department of Homeland Security boss, right? These guys, not good. We could have some trouble with that. We could have some interference. I mean, who knows? China may want to step in and do something. Russia may want to step in and do something. Israel may want to step in and do something. And when I say do something, on all those counts, and even the CIA may want to do its own thing. I'm talking about false flags to blame somebody else, to escalate this above and beyond a simple let's bomb the drug lords campaign. Meanwhile, offshore in naval vessels, I am extremely confident that our good friends in green, the United States Marine Corps, are standing by, boots fully strapped, magazines loaded, and not an AK-47 in sight. It'll be all M4s and the new good stuff. Let's see what happens, folks. Like I said, sit down, buckle up, hang on, have your beer and popcorn ready, or coffee, as it were. Look at that. It's actually says what my shirt says. Deplorable. There we go. Look at that. That's marketing magic right there. Anyways, we don't get paid money if you go buy Cafefe coffee. I just want everyone to know it's delicious freaking coffee. Now, that's subject number one. That took up a third of our Friday free for all. Okay, do you want to put some up, or is it my turn, Mr. Uman? I can't remember. It's Redneck Roughneck. He says, listen, John, it's Halloween. Just a reminder that Tootsie Rolls are just chocolate-flavored crayons. You mean brown crayons aren't chocolate-flavored? Come on, man. Yeah. Oh, listen. Over in the Prepared Mind bunker, I've got a bag full of, well, it's assorted candy, but a lot of Tootsie Rolls in there. And because they do look like crayons, I tend to eat those first. In any event, thank you for the wise, salient, and sage advice, brother Redneck Roughneck. When I get done with the show, I'm going to put on a white top hat. I'm going to put on a cape with some moons and stars on it. I'm going to get some kind of staff, a steek, as it were. Oh, shoot, I got one right here. This is my Polynesian chief's stick. I'll pretend that this is my Gandalf wizard thing. You shall not pass. I'll do that, and I'll go out there and put a table by the road and sit there with a bucket of candy and see how many kids stop. What a world, folks. What a world. There's that deplorable coffee thing again. Look at that. Brilliant. Brilliant, I tell you. Okay, folks, let's get into something else that I think is rather very, very important. Okay, here it is. Hang on. In an exclusive interview, the Alternative for Deutschland, their deputy parliamentary leader named Beatrix von Storch. That is just an awfully interesting name. Von Storch. It almost sounds like something you would do to someone you don't like. Well, I was having a hard time with that guy. He wouldn't shut up, so I had to storch him upside his head. In any event, Beatrix von Storch, the leader of basically the German Republicans, says, quote, Germany is no longer a democracy. No. So you go from a freedom-loving type of republic to a democracy, and then as soon as you have a democracy, that goes right to an authoritarian fucking state. There's not a lot of middle ground. You're either free or the fucking state owns you. So they claim we just want some democracy, which means bureaucracy, and then it becomes authoritarian. Anyways, she hasn't been shot, killed, or imprisoned yet. So Beatrix von Storch just exploded with respect to political persecution and censorship in Germany and the European Union. Folks, time is almost up in Europe and in England. In my opinion, the government has stepped up its censorship to Stalin-esque, communist level, period. The arrests are German Gestapo level. And even political assassinations are occurring over there. Most notably to the Alternative for Deutschland, their political party. I think they lost, was it seven different politicians just happened to die, get killed and assassinated? Oh, no worries. Well, Germany is at the head of Europe to push themselves into self-destruction. And they don't want anyone to stop the insanity. No, they don't. They are absolutely driving full speed ahead into self-destruction through self-loathing, self-hatred, and fucking retarded decisions. In fact, just this week, Germany blew up. And when I mean blow up, I mean explosive demolition and brought down their very last nuclear power plant, while the rest of the world is gearing up with nuclear. From, well, yeah, the United States. Everyone knows that they fired up 3 Mile Island, right? If you're old like me, you know who 3 Mile Island is and was back in the 70s. Had a little nuclear accident there. No one died, but that scared everybody, right? Who else is doing nuclear? China. China is at the head of the world with in production, in planning, and future plans for nuclear power. Another one that's getting back into nuclear heavy, Japan. Japan actually had their Fukushima explosion, right? We had, 3 Mile Island was a big deal. Chernobyl was a horrible design, one of a kind, terrible, shitty design, melted down and exploded. And then Fukushima wasn't a nuclear accident as much as it was a tsunami that showed that their backup systems weren't redundant, and that caused an explosion in one of the reactors. In any event, that was the most recent, and Japan's like, you know what? Fuck it, we're going nuclear again. But Germany is in self-destruct mode. Germany is, in my opinion, in Europe, hands down, the most intelligent, productive, industrial powerhouse. And per capita, minus all of the worthless fucking Muslims they brought in, right, competes with countries like China, Japan, South Korea for just people with productive capacity. And they're just letting it all go to waste, showing that they truly are self-destructive. This is what these globalist, neocon, Zionist, fucking Illuminati people want. They want to destroy everything that is civilized. They have their models. They have their AI. They have their monetary system. They have their combined human intelligence computerized. They don't need a human population anymore that can fight with them. So they want to just destroy us. I mean, this is what's going on with the West and censorship and silencing people. In fact, this ridiculous, lack of a better word, bitch who works for Facebook. She works for Facebook, and her job is to censor and remove anti-Israel sentiment from the application, from the social media source. And she said, we're now censoring and eliminating people who are accusing Israel of silencing and censoring people. It's like, what? So you're removing people from Facebook who are criticizing Israel for what Israel is doing, and they're removing them for talking about Israel controlling the media. So she admits basically that they're doing exactly what the people they're removing are complaining about. This is crazy. But look, I got more follow-up, right? In America, we have political silencing and threats of assassination here as well. It's not just Beatrix von Storch and the AfD in Germany that's getting threats and assassination. The United States of America, our country, is not far behind Europe, folks. We're not far behind at all. Once you start paying attention, you'll understand. Right? Democrat Congressman Jim Himes. This is kind of a reminder from earlier in the week. He suggested that President AOC, that's right, President of the future, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, could assassinate, eliminate her political opponents. Is that a threat? Is that a promise? Sounds like it to me. And where is the Attorney General or even the FBI? Where is Bimbo Bondi? Where's Crash Paddle to go visit this fucking guy, Jim Himes, at his home or his office and explain to him free speech doesn't include death threats, extortion, or violence? Literally, folks, these people are losing their minds and they're becoming more and more violent. And I'm going to give you one more big taste of why they're trying to silence me, you, and us, right? But you can't go anywhere. They're just going to threaten us. Like I said, I was really glad that Frank sent me a text in the middle of the night. At least I got it in the middle of the night. You know, letting me know I need to watch my 6 out here because we don't know where we're going to get it, right? What's going on? Right now, officials in the Trump administration and other top officials are literally moving themselves and their family onto military bases. Why? They claim that they fear assassination. Now, do we have that in America? Yes. Were there or were there not Democrats in Minnesota who were assassinated? The answer is yes. They were assassinated. By who? By a Democrat. Allegedly being paid by the governor himself, Tim Walz. Where did that story go, Uman? Where'd that story go? Right. We don't fucking know. That story just disappeared out of the news. It did. It disappeared out of the news. No more. The guy said he was paid, and he was supposed to take out Senator Amy Klobuchar as well. Where'd it go? Right, we have this jackass, Jay Jones. Let's talk about that. Right, the Democrats have Jay Jones running as Attorney General for Virginia. Now, he's the candidate. This radical asshole of a Democrat, right, tweeted his fantasy about the murder of his Republican opponent and their little Republican children, and that the children should die in their arms as they're dying. That's what this radical piece of shit, violent Democrat suggested. And nobody in the Democrat Party condemned it, told him he must apologize, or even drop out of the race. None of them that I know of. In fact, some of them came out and said they support him, including the Teachers Association. That's right. Teachers in Virginia don't give a fuck if children are murdered in cold blood and they die slowly in their parents' arms, as long as they're Republican. Do you see where the fuck you stand in front of your teachers? If they're not Republicans, folks, if they're not diehard patriots and America first, your teachers wish death on you and your kids. They just can't openly say it. They can't openly do it. Not yet. Not yet. Folks, that's why we're on a knife's edge. Are we going to fall towards justice and law and order? Or are we going to fall off this knife's edge into the abyss of cold-blooded political murder? They keep saying, oh, these right-wingers, right? They keep hearing this bullshit story.
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
That's the guy, a Democrat, who's accusing Republicans of doing what they are now fucking doing. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and your plan. Folks, go to thepreparedmind.club. Look at what we have there. Suggestions for getting prepared. Click on that. Go to their websites. We don't carry anything in our website for sale. I don't ship anything out. But go to that website, thepreparedmind.club, and you will find what you need to get prepared, because these fucking people are promising violence. The government's promising violence. Our enemies are promising violence. There's terrorists in this country that are promising violence, and it can come at any time. And once the violence stops, once the violence starts, it's not going to stop easily, because people are going to be like, fuck it. You want to shoot at me? It is now go time. You want to get violent around me? It is now go time. I had some guy in the middle of the fucking night as I was driving 0 dark 30. Middle of the night. Fucking pitch black. I get to an intersection and I have to turn right. I'm going to do a right on red at an intersection. And I look left. It's clear. Time to go. I look right, and there's a guy trying to step off the curb. And then he steps back up on the curb because I'm turning right on red. And he looks at me and goes, "What, man?" As if, I was going to run him over. I'm like, dude, you're wearing black pants, black shoes, black fucking shirt, and a black fucking hoodie. I can't see anything but your stupid white face. And you want to get all fucking loud with me. Well, I guess discretion being the better part of valor, I chose not to roll the window down and tell him how much I appreciated him. I just kept driving and thought, fuck it. I can't win a conversation with a fucking retard or a pig because all they want to do is get in the mud with you. That's it. You can't win an argument with a fucking retard. Don't even try. In any event, that's the topics on political violence, folks. The potential for political violence. They're threatening low-life and low-level politicians at the state level, at the federal level, even the president himself. They're committing acts of murder against state representatives, police, especially ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. What makes you think they'll hesitate a fucking second to kill one of us if they get a chance and they recognize us from social media, or if they recognize you from a polling place or work and they suspect you're a Republican? They could just fucking start shooting. They could follow you home. Oh yeah, follow you home and then target your house. Be prepared. Be prepared. That's all I've got to say. Mr. Uman, let's see what the crowd has to say after all of that. It is the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free-for-all, and you guys are the stars on the show. We do need to get another guest back on here, Mr. Uman. So Redneck Roughneck says they have begun an official investigation into Black Lives Matter. Expect that to last until the Democrats get back into power and shred the documents. They now have an official investigation into BLM, Black Lives Matter, a transgender black Marxist organization. That is not a joke, even though it's very funny. They are a black, transgender, transsexual, Marxist, meaning communist, organization that threatened, bullied, cajoled corporations into supporting them, or they would call them racist. This is how far they went just back in 2020. Either you give them what they want, or they're going to call you a racist. They're going to call Coke a racist, or Nike a racist. They're going to call General Mills a racist. Whatever corporation they went after, they extracted money from. I believe it was in the neighborhood of hundreds of millions of dollars, basically in extortion money, because everyone was afraid of being called a racist. How about today? Do you give a fuck what anyone calls you? You shouldn't, because it doesn't matter how good you are. You're still a white supremacist. You're still a racist. You're still a sellout Uncle Tom Blackie. You're still, right, an evil, rotten, suck up to whitey Hispanic. It doesn't matter. You can't fucking win with these people. You cannot appease a terrorist. You cannot appease a communist. You cannot appease a Democrat, because once they take a little from you, they're going to keep coming back. You can't fucking win. So they've been doing what? Calling us racists. The Israelis keep calling us anti-Semites, or Nazis, or Hitler, or Gestapo, or Stasi, or whatever they want. Islamophobe, xenophobe, homophobe, transphobe. And it doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't sting. I couldn't give a fuck, because none of it truly applies. None of it truly applies. You're a racist. I never owned any slaves. My family never owned any slaves. Fuck off. You're an anti-Semite. You're not even a Semite. Shut the fuck up. Right? You're a transphobe. No, I don't fear homosexual people. I just don't approve of what they do, especially if they have anything to do with children. You're an Islamophobe. No, I'm not. I don't fear Islamists. I understand what a fucking threat they are. They're all terrorists. And, well, the ones that say they're not, they're just really good liars. Right? All of these things no longer have the effect. We're going to come after you and ruin your life. Too fucking late. It's been ruined. You can't fucking take something from somebody who has got nothing left to give. Fuck off. Right? And on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting the channel, giving us just enough, just what we need. right? I'm not rolling around in Rolex watches and $500 pairs of sneakers, right? That's not how this works. You guys support me and the channel and the effort, and we get enough to keep the lights on and the show going. If we had to pay Uman what he's worth, we would all be broke. That guy does a lot for us, and I want to thank you, Mr. Uman, for all you do. Let's continue, if we shall, with the topics on this Friday free for all. Well, this is a fucking ass-burning, ass-chapping story. Another Obama judge, another Democrat judge, another judge who hates the Constitution has ordered the Trump administration to fund the SNAP benefits program. That's the supplemental nutritional program. In other words, it's more welfare food. SNAP. There you go. How about that? An Obama judge is ordering Trump to do what they want him to do. Well, I guess we have to do what judges say, right? Because judges, they know. Well, what if judges start ordering the death of Republicans? We're going to listen to that? You're going to obey that? You're going to allow that to fucking stand? Well, we got to do what judges say because they're neutral, right? They're not partisan. Fucking wrong. Right? How many times has the president of El Salvador, President Bukele, how many times he said, hey, if you want to fix your country, remove all the judges, clean house, arrest criminals, and just put them in prison. And if you're going to have judges, you bring back judges that understand the Constitution and obey it. And they don't think that they're the fucking president. You see, judges are not administrators. Judges are judges. Judges are not legislators. They don't write the laws. They don't administer the laws, right? They don't write the laws. They don't execute the laws. They're judges. Yet here we have a judge saying, fuck the law. We're going to write our own from the bench. And we're going to tell the president how to administrate it. You must start giving all of these motherfuckers their SNAP benefits. Now, that happened today on Friday. Tomorrow is November 1st. Saturday, November 1st. And SNAP benefits are to be cut off. My question is Trump going to obey an unlawful order? Folks, I refuse to obey unlawful orders in the service. I refuse to allow bad people to do bad things. I refuse to allow someone to order my death, symbolic or real. I got tired of having unlawful orders around me and unlawful behavior. Why is Trump putting up with this shit? For someone as powerful he is and as arrogant as he is, I don't know why he doesn't step in front of a camera and do the old pat, 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 right? The old, I think it's, is this thing on? Right? I'm surprised he hasn't done that and said, look, I don't give a fuck what you judges say. You guys are out of your depth. You have no authority. You cannot say what you say, and I don't care what you say. We're not playing that fucking game anymore. Instead, we're playing the game we're playing. That said, we'll find out tomorrow if SNAP recipients, that is to say, welfare queens and pieces of shit and ghetto slime and swamp slime and mountain slime and all the fucking slime is going to slime out of their homes and go down to the nearest store and demand that they get their freebies. I'm sorry. I'm sure responsible people who are getting a helping hand up and they're on welfare and SNAP, I'm sure they have more than 3 days of food in their fucking pantry. I'm sure they're going to survive. But all of these recipients that are complete scum, that take their SNAP benefits and trade them for fucking drugs, I'm sure they're going to be the problem cases. So yeah, you want to go to a supermarket, and this is what they're doing. They're promising that they're going to go to supermarkets and they're going to steal people's groceries out of their shopping carts, or they're just going to steal the entire shopping cart and run off with it. Now, these are Americans that work, pay fucking taxes, pay for car insurance to drive to a grocery store, and then pay for the fucking groceries, and these people think that they're just going to walk and steal their stuff? Fucking playtime is going to be over, folks, and it should be. I hope you're prepared. I'll be packing fucking heat. That means 45 ACP in my, well, it's a DeSantis fucking concealed holster. You will not threaten and attack me and steal my shit, because I'm sure if you attack me, I'm going to fear for my life, and I'm going to use my leticillin to take care of the problem. I'm not going to play this fucking game. Are you? Literally, I'm a serious question. Are you going to allow someone to steal your groceries because they're mad they're not getting free groceries? So not only do you work and buy your own fucking groceries and pay for theirs with taxes, but now they're going to steal yours and you have to go buy it again. Well, then you come back out and they steal some more. They've also promised that they're going to go in and just raid the fucking stores and loot them and knock all the food off the shelves and break all the bottles and dent all the cans and fuck everything up so that nobody gets to eat. If they don't get their fucking freebies, nobody gets to eat. That's the attitude, my friends. That's the attitude of socialists, communists, and fucking terrorists. That's the attitude of people like Dollar Store Obama Hakeem Jeffries. That's the attitude of AOC. She actually told Riley Gaines, go get a real job. This coming from a fucking bitch whose experience is limited to being a bartender. And now she's a congresswoman and she knows how to run the world and she thinks she's going to be president in 2028. Wow. Absolutely fucking wow. It is Halloween, by the way, folks. Uman says Walmart released a statement that the rumors about store closings tomorrow for the Snapocalypse are fake. I have a funny feeling that while Walmart did release the statement about these rumors, if I was a store manager and I wanted to keep my job, the moment any shenanigans started, I would close my store without Benton, Arkansas's permission. So that when I came back to work the next day, there'd still be a store with goods to sell and a store to manage. If you let these fucking people into your store and they just start ravaging it, there'll be nothing on the shelves. And the entire neighborhood and, shall we say, shopping population will not come back because there's nothing to buy, and then they'll fear being exposed to more of this shit. And so what do these SNAP recipients, these Snapocalypse asswipes do and say? Well, they don't care. Folks, they will ruin and destroy everything if they don't get their way. This is the mentality of the welfare queen, the welfare king that makes a living, a fucking career out of milking the fucking system. And they're not going to go away. They're not going to quit. And they will threaten you. And they will hurt you. And they will think it's justifiable. And they don't care. Well, in the state of Florida, I think there may be a little bit of a different attitude. Thank you, Mr. Uman, for that. Now, I want you to follow this insane SHTF bullshit logic from the Democrats. Former vice president, former presidential candidate, former word salad tossing fucking retard, Kamala Harris. She is demanding that we lower the voting age to 16 years old. 16. They're not even taxpayers. They have no real world experience, no life experience. They're not even legal adults. They have not been put in any situation whereby they need to make a decision by which they're accountable for or they suffer the consequences of, because they're children. So Kamala Harris wants children to vote. Why? Well, everyone knows the answer. Climate change. Climate change is why children need to vote. Didn't you know that? Folks, why would she say this? Why are they pushing this now? Well, they've pushed it in the past a little bit, but why now? Because they're losing their illegal voters. They're being deported, or they're self-deporting. Or they're afraid to go vote because they're afraid ICE is going to arrest them and throw them the fuck out. The Democrats, Kamala Harris and all of them, are afraid that states are passing laws requiring voter ID, paper ballots, and hand count. Those are the three things that'll help save the republic through the voting system. So if they can legalize 16-year-olds to vote, who are the most easily duped, easily fooled, easily controlled, manipulated, brainwashed, and indoctrinated? Of course, children. That's why they want children to vote, because children typically don't fucking think. They're children, for fuck's sake. So climate change is the justification. And Kamala Harris is claiming that teenagers, quote, fear they'll be wiped out by climate change. They're too afraid to have kids. At age 16, they're too afraid to have kids. So they should be. 16-year-old children don't normally have kids at that age. Why do they think they should even be worrying about having kids at all? So because of that, though, they need to vote. They should be allowed to vote. We need to fix this so children can vote because they're scared of climate change. You know, they tried that shit with kids years and years ago with Greta the Climate Grinch, right? Little Greta, who still looks like she's 14 years old, even though we know she's much older, is out there lying about the climate. But it's such an obvious fucking lie, folks. Even Bill Gates, who hates humanity, who wants to kill everyone, even he has said, yeah, climate change isn't a big deal. It's not real. It's a fucking mistake. Whoops, sorry. These kids, before they're allowed to vote, I don't think even 18-year-olds should vote. I don't. Unless you're in the military. Unless you're in the military, I don't think kids should be able to vote. I think you should have to pay taxes for 5 years, 10 years before you're allowed to vote. I like the system of voting that says, unless you are the primary head of household and are renting, and the rent comes out of your paycheck, and there's got to be a way to figure that one out, or just you own property. You are a shareholder in the American dream, and you're paying your fucking price with property taxes, income taxes, registration taxes, fuel taxes, name your fucking taxes. Once you start paying all those taxes, now you're allowed to vote. So these kids need to grow up fully. They need to get a fucking job. They need to have some experience under their belt. They need to have children. And then they can see how much taxes and inflation suck. And then they can vote to either fix the taxes or have more welfare. But letting a prospective welfare recipient at age 16 vote so they can get knocked up and get all the free benefits, that's what Camel Toes Harris wants. That's right, old dirty knees, old stretch marks around the lips, Kamala Harris. That's what she wants. What a drunken tart. Anyways, that's my take on that. Mr. Uman, how are we doing there? Uman says, Gubna Pricksta. I love calling him Jabba because he looks like Jabba the Hutt with a bad hairpiece. Gubna Prickster has asked ICE to stop immigrations and customs enforcement actions over Halloween for the children. It's always for the children. Obama put children in cages. Yeah, Obama actually did put children in cages. You bet. Foreign children coming into America illegally, Obama put them in cages. Did he let them out for Halloween? No. Did he let them out for Christmas? No. He kept them in cages. So did Biden, by the way. They like cages for children because, well, that's what Jeffrey Epstein taught them about. Use cages. That way they can't run away. But yeah, it's for the children. Remember, anytime Democrats ask for something for the children, Prickster wants the children for himself. Yeah, he's like a big fat witch that wants to cook them and eat them. Wonder where that myth came from. Do you know where the myth of the big, nasty, filthy witch with the big giant nose wants to eat children and drink their blood? Do you know where that comes from in history? I do. Oh, what a world we live in, folks, when witches are no longer witches hiding in the woods, but rather they're in positions of power. Yes, Prickster wants to eat the children. They don't want children to be alive. They want to murder children. They want abortion on demand. They want full-term abortion. They want partial birth abortion. They want to be able to kill children, the Democrats do, after they're born. They even push for a law that would allow them to abort a child's life up to a year after the child has been born. That's how fucking sick Democrats are, folks. They want to take away all criminality and having sex with children. They're fucking sick pedophiles. Where do you think they get that from? What culture? What religion do you think that comes from? It's real, folks. It's fucking real. But now they're going to pretend like we need to quit upholding the law, bringing law and order, truth and justice, safety to the people of Chicago and greater Illinoisian, says Governor Prickster. So ICE, please don't come around because it's for the children. Fuck you, you fat Jabba the Hutt looking bastard. Know who else wanted to protect the children? Janet El Reno. That's right. Old El Reno, Janet Reno, the Attorney General for Bill Clinton in the 90s. They went to Waco for the children. They shot the shit out of it with machine guns and gunships, helicopters, to protect the children. They surrounded them with guns for the children. At night, they played the sounds of tortured animals, psychological warfare for the children that were inside the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. They tried starving out the people for the children. They were assassinating them with snipers for the children. And ultimately, while the children were hiding in an underground bunker, they drove tanks into the Branch Davidian compound. They lit it on fire. They inserted tear gas, which was flammable, and they killed every child. They did it for the children. Everything is about the children as long as they're killing them. I don't know what the fuck Prinkster wants. And thank you, Chin Music, by the way. These people are sick motherfuckers. And if you knew me personally and you ever met me, you could look me in the eye and tell if I'm telling the truth in my belief system or if I'm just saying this to be fucking incendiary, to be provocative. Or can you tell through the computer screen, the TV, the monitor, whatever the fuck you got, that I am sincere and serious, that these fucking people have no love or care for children? One last thing. Jay Jones, piece of shit. Piece of shit. I could call him every dirty racist name in the book, and it's not bad enough to describe that sack of shit who wants to shoot or see shot his political opponent and then have someone shoot his children and have them die in his arms because it's for the children. Fucking Democrats are lying scum, folks. And Republicans are weak, and they'll do anything they can to get out of holding Democrats responsible. They'll do anything they can to not do their fucking jobs. That is the government of the United States of America in a fucking nutshell. This is Friday Free for All. Get prepared. I'll see you Sunday night live, 6 p.m., and I'll bring you more facts, more truth, more everything, folks. It is a shit show out there, and I want you to get prepared. at thepreparedmind.club. Thepreparedmind.club. Get yourself ready, folks. The nasty is coming.